Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, Brantley and I are going to be talking about some of the early reactions for Marvel's newest movie, Eternals, coming out in a little bit under 2 weeks now. I'm super excited for the movie. Before we get into it, Brantley, are you hyped for it? Because, I'm out of this world for it.
Yeah, it's been a interesting rollout so far. I think my hype has increased with every trailer. The first trailer was pretty low. Second trailer, third trailer, it increased with each one. So I would say I'm pretty excited. I think that it's definitely going to be pretty different from what we've seen so far, which is always exciting. I know that's been a big issue people have had with the MCU, myself included, kind of getting stale at times. So
starting it off from Jandroo, he said that his first thoughts on Eternals in the morning after watching the movie. He said, "I'm strongly on the loved it side while acknowledging it won't be for everyone, which is one of the few things I loved about it. There's a reason for the review dichotomy, which I only expect to increase. Now to marinate on it." So this isn't too deep of a review. The other ones get more deep into certain aspects of it, but I wanted to start off with this one because this one's more generic. He talks about how the fandom is going to be split in what they like and what they don't like about the movie. You guys don't know what dichotomy means. I guess the split between who likes it and who doesn't like it. I've already been telling Brownlee this. I said that I don't think this movie is going to be for everyone because of how different it is. Brownlee, do you think that this split in fandom is either going to make it like 9 out of 10 movie or like a 7 out of 10 movie? Like, how do you think the audience reaction is going to influence everything else that goes on with this movie?
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like it's definitely one of those movies you can like talk to one person about. They're gonna say they love it. Talk to someone else, they'll be like, "Oh, it just wasn't like good at all." Which I think is fun. I think we haven't had a movie like that in MCU, I would say, so far. Like,
yeah, in a long time.
Yeah, so I think that's always fun. I think those are movies that really fun to engage about and have discourse with. So overall, I kind of like this. Like, I like this kind of fun reaction so far. It's pretty polarizing so far. So I think that's just more fun and interesting to talk about.
No. So yeah, I agree. We haven't had a movie like this in a long time. But moving on to the next one, this is by Filmstock. He said, "While convoluted at times and almost too massive in its scale for its own good, Eternals is still solid. It does not feel like an MCU movie, which is quite refreshing. From the visuals to the story structure, this is different for the better, and we need more of certain characters ASAP." What stands out to me about this, guys, is that he said that the story structure is very different and it's for the better. Now, from other people that I know have already seen the movie early, they're not in any of the future reviews that we're going to be talking about in this video specifically, but I talked to people and they said that this movie doesn't follow a three-act structure.
It's interesting because this movie is, tackling a lot of information from what we know about the MCU. So, like, for his first thing calling kind of convoluted and too massive for its own good, I think that maybe the movie might bite off more than they can chew almost in terms of like how much it's trying to feed to the audience, even with the longer runtime, which is interesting because I feel like the longer runtime, I was like, okay, they should be able to put everything that they can into this movie and have it kind of work out. So to hear that it's kind of still convoluted, at least in his opinion, with like 2 hours, almost 3 hours, that's kind of crazy. So I don't know how much.
I don't know how much they're trying to put in this movie, but at the same time, you got to think about it, bro. Like Avengers Endgame, that movie had a lot of characters and it was still almost 3 hours, right? This one has 10 plus characters, like 10 main heroes, not included. That doesn't even include like Dane Whiteman or like any side characters at all. That's only the main 10 Eternals. Next one is from Brad. He said that Eternals is visually captivating, leaving you in awe by the beauty and scale of the movie. It does not feel like a Marvel movie, and that is not a bad thing. The cast is brilliant, and the story has tremendous depth, and due to the Eternals' immense power, the action sequences are wild. So Brad gave more of a description of the movie in a sense, and that's kind of what I liked about his review more than the other ones. But the biggest thing that sticks out about this one is that he talks about the depth of and the powers of the Eternals. So I'm excited to see this. Also, if you guys haven't already watched Jeremy John's review, what are you guys doing? But in his review, he basically said that the Eternals end up having a massive CGI battle. Shang-Chi did the same thing, and that's that's personally one thing I love about Shang-Chi. I love the dragon fight. I love how everything comes together. Brilliant on the other hand, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was hoping that this movie would have a kind of different thing, because I feel like the CGI thing, it's kind of become like a running joke almost amongst the MCU. But obviously, I think they gave Chloe Zhao a lot of freedom and whatnot. But I think still they kind of have those Marvel checklist points that they have to.
They kind of get back to. They got to get back to that. It's a Marvel movie, remember? Like that.
Yeah. I think that's kind of just one thing but I think this movie is like it's from what we're hearing, it's like a step kind of in the right direction. We've been trying something different. So I think eventually we will get that one Marvel movie that's like just a complete just outlier from everything else, which will be interesting. So I think that yeah, just going off this review also, yeah. I mean the visuals, I mean we saw from the trailer, I think visually like we already knew this movie was
Yeah,
gonna be
stunning.
insane. Like
Yeah.
she used real environments and whatnot. So I mean that's definitely super dope. And I think the cast as well, yeah. I think we saw the chemistry even through the trailers. We told that they're gonna be a lot of fun to watch and have good chemistry. So I'm happy to hear that those are all things that deliver in the movie. So yeah, that's the one thing that I can say. I feel like this movie is definitely 100% like is going to deliver on is the cast and the visuals and the action, which
Yeah,
is
I think that's what I'm excited for is the action because I'm excited to see how they balance 10 different characters. Like that's a lot of characters, like especially when they all have different subsets of powers that all go hand in hand. Moving on, the next one is from Mount Ramos, aka Soups. His Eternals review. He said, "It's a beautiful movie with an awesome cast of characters that tells a complex story but is ultimately too big for itself. I felt like they could split this story into two different films. I like this, but I didn't love it. It sets up an exciting future for the MCU." What I'm surprised about this review, this one right here, okay? Matt is infamous, okay, on TikTok for not giving Marvel movies bad reviews.
yeah.
This is the first one I've seen where he actually bashes the movie to an extent.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised because yeah, Soups is usually very over positive, especially speaking about the MCU. Like I don't think I've rarely seen him like actually have critiques of MCU films, so it's pretty. This was definitely a shock seeing his
Yeah.
thoughts on this. So yeah, again, but as we've talked about earlier, this just seems like this is a very polarizing movie. So to just see this split is just very very interesting. The only thing like my issue is just regarding this is that I feel like if the reactions are too negative, which I mean, if people obviously should share their honest opinions, I would definitely prefer that. But I just feel like the MCU and Disney they might see this and not kind of be scared to take those risks in the future going forward if the
Yeah.
backlash is like too much. So
Yeah, that's
hopefully
what
the
I'm
MCU
scared for.
still like they take the criticisms and whatnot and still kind of press forward. So yeah, that's my only fear about kind of these more negative reviews.
No, let's move on to the last one here from Chris Killian. Also, I think he's at comicbook.com, but he said, "So I think I loved Eternals, which I was not expecting. It's a bold, beautiful epic, thematically rich, which is a lot to unpack. It's absolutely unlike anything Marvel has done before, which I found refreshing. Avoid spoilers other than, the one that was already spoiled." So basically, he talks about how this movie is thematically rich, which I really was not expecting because a lot of the other reviews have just been like action, cool, visuals, cool, stunning, cool. But I never really thought of the whole thematic aspect, and from what I've heard, a lot of the theme in this movie comes around like the I guess divide within the Eternals to help humans, right?
Yeah.
And so people are saying that there's a lot of good internal conflict between these heroes, and that's what I'm really excited for, because anytime we really have a team in the MCU, like for example like Civil War, it's like something that someone else presents to them, like for example the Sokovia Accords. Like that was a physical thing, like that tear the team apart. But this one, it seems like obviously they're together at the end of the movie. It's not like they're like actually split apart. So it's gonna be interesting to see how. Also, it's more of an emotional thing. This isn't about because the things like humans wouldn't even know if they went to save them or not. Eternals are the ones that are looking down on them. Humans aren't like, "Come save us, please." Whereas with the Eternals, it's like with the Avengers, it's like, "We know you're up. We know the Avengers exist. Come save us."
I mean, I think that's interesting because that's like usually MCU films from what I can remember. I mean, they have mostly pretty kind of straightforward themes or whatnot. Like it's pretty simple, like family, or whatever. It's like pretty simple stuff. So to say something that's like it's pretty thematically rich. I mean, I'm excited because I'm just touching on probably topics and themes that MCU films haven't touched on before. So I was gonna say like one other thing about these reviews. I feel like while a lot of us have had the complaint that like Marvel needs to like do something new or different. I feel like a lot of these critics though they like just the MCU like the formula. So
Exactly.
like,
that makes no sense to me. Yeah.
That's why a lot of these reviews are a bit more I'd say like negative because I think a lot of these people there's a fair amount of people that just like the MCU like just keep giving me kind of the same thing. But there's other people that kind of want something different. So I think that's why this movie is kind of so polarizing.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to go back really quickly to the first review we talked about from Jandroo, I watched his 1 hour spoiler free video with the Real Rejects. So you guys can check that video out. It'll be in the link in the description down below. But that video really opened my eyes because the way that they were debating about it, they weren't giving spoilers, but Coy really seemed to like the thematic elements of the movie and how he acknowledged, obviously, like he said in his review on Twitter that he acknowledged that people wouldn't like it, but he was like, I don't understand why people wouldn't like it if they're asking for something different, and this movie delivers that, but it's a little too different for some people. Like that still can't I can't really set that into my mind that it's too different for people. Nevertheless, that's it for this video, guys. Brantley, you have any last thoughts?
I'm just excited for the movie. It's interesting. It's been a little bit since the MCU film, man. Shang-Chi was it September? Yeah.
Yeah,
November?
it feels like it's been a while.
Eternals, Hawkeye, a lot of stuff happening. No Way Home.
Yeah, guys, that's basically it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, again, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so anyways anytime I upload a new video or go live. Check out all of Brantley's social medias. Links will be in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.